we go. Hey, Marymount Junior High, hope you are doing great. Mr. Ballard here, and looking forward to bringing you yet another exciting math lesson. Must give you a heads up, if you hear any little girl screaming in the background, that is my daughter. She is safe. She is just fighting a nap really good. But looking at her monitor, she might be down here soon. If you hear the little pitter-patter of claws on the wood floor, that would be Butters, so all is safe. Knowing that, let's jump into our math lesson and let's get started. All right. So today we are going to learn about infinite and finite numbers. I've got definitions for both on here. Before we read those definitions, you will need a calculator. You can use the one on your iPads, more than fine. It'll get the job done. I would say if you do have like a TI 30X, something along those lines, the ones that are suggested to buy at the beginning of the year, that by your side would be a little bit better to use, but not necessary. Doing that, the definition of a finite number is there next to the picture of the beach, and it's basically a number that has an end. It has a beginning, it has an end, and it can measure exact things. Infinite numbers, those are typically more theoretical, and obviously they are never ending, they never stop, and there's a symbol for infinity right there. What we're going to do is I'm going to ask you to go ahead and answer questions A, B, and C, and D. A and B are on this page, C and D are on the next. Use long division, don't use your calculator. So go ahead, do that now, hit pause. Okay, now that you've answered those, I would like you to work along with me and check your answers. So for the first one, this is 54 divided by, 54 divided by 20. All right, 20 goes into 54 twice. And 54 minus 40 is 14. I'm going to put a decimal there, put a decimal here. Bring down the 0. 20 goes, or I know 2 goes into 14 7 times, so I got to know 20 goes into 140 7 times. And so my answer is 2.7. So since that number had a beginning and an end, I know that it is finite. So this is a finite number there. All right, part B, 7 divided by 8. 8 does not go into 7, but 8 does go into 70. Moving forward, 8 goes into 67 times. Gets me 4. And 8 goes into 40 5 times, and I'll move my work to the side. 40 minus 40 is 0. So I know my answer is 0.875. That also stopped, it terminated, so that is also a finite number. On the next page here, 8 divided by 9. 9 does not go into 8, but 9 does go into 80. Starting to see a pattern here. So I'm realizing that this is just going to be 0.8 repeating. So I can write it like so. This is 0.8 repeating, or maybe some of you wrote it as 0.89. That's fine. Either one of those are acceptable, but you've got to realize that this is a number that does not stop. It is non-terminating, so we would say it's an infinite number. Moving on with our next one, we'll go to yellow here so it sticks out. A little different from that green. 22 divided by 7. 7 goes into 22 3 times. Goes into 10 once. Goes into 30 4 times. Goes into 20 twice. I'm going to go ahead and stop there because that's just going to keep going on and on and on and on and on. This one is not going to have an end to it. And I asked you to do that with long division just to really drive that point home of seeing when they terminate and when a number might just go ahead and start continuing on forever. both C and D here are infinite numbers. So that kind of gets asked on this party. What did you notice about A and B that was different than C and D? Well, A and B were finite, meaning they had an ending. Excuse my eyes there, that's going to bother me. And then for C and D, those were infinite. They did not and would not stop. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do now start using your calculators. So for this first one, do not worry about this writing with the denominator with powers of 10. Just simply use your calculator. Do 5 divided by 8. And I'm doing that. Yeah, do the first two on this page. So when you did that, you should have gotten 0.625. It terminated, it stopped, so this would be a finite number. And then 17 divided by 125 got me 0.136. Again, that is also finite for example 2. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit pause on the video here. Go ahead and do 1 through 4, and we'll check our answers in a moment. All right, now that you're back, when you did 3 divided by 8, you should have gotten 0.375. So since it stops, it is finite. The next one, 43 divided by 64. Now this one, in your calculator, it might look like it stops, but there should be a little arrow that indicates it keeps going on forever. And depending on which calculator you use, it might have given you more digits than this, but I know this was going to keep going on. So this one would be infinite. All right, the next 29 divided by 125. Let me use a different color here. 0.232. It terminated, it stopped, so it's finite. I'll write that up here. And then finally, 19 divided by 34. Again, really long number, arrow on my calculator indicating, and I'll go ahead and write all the digits I see real quick. This is a non-terminating, a non-stopping number, so it is also infinite. All right. So for number 5 here, it asks us to label it either infinite or finite. We kind of did that as we went along. What I will ask you to do is go ahead and do the example 3 on the bottom, go to the next page, do all the exercises, and we will check our answers here in a moment. Go ahead and hit pause. All right. Now that you were back, when you did 7 divided by 80 in your calculator, you should have gotten 0.0875, and that is finite. Next, 3 divided by 160. 0.01875. Now this one I'm a little curious about because I've got my arrow here. Let me do something real quick. Oh, that arrow, never mind, that arrow is not an indicator. I take that back, so I apologize. Ignore that arrow on your calculator if that's what you see. Butters, that is my dog. I promise he's fine. That's just the way he breathes. So 3 divided by 116. Let's even use, I'm going to check it with my other calculator here. So 3 divided by 160. Yeah, it does terminate. It does stop, so it is finite. I just wanted to check that out in my calculator because the one I was using wasn't quite sure. All right, for the next one, 37 divided by 40. 0.9 2, 5. And that's fine if we just kind of combine A and B together. This is finite, as is the one above it. Okay, next, 3 divided by 250. 0.012, also finite, and then finally 7 divided by 1,250. 0.0056. There we go. All of these are finite. So that's really our lesson. For this example here, this lesson summary, if you look at this page, don't worry so much about this middle section here. I feel like that actually including this, I feel like it just confuses things too much. If you can do 1 divided by 8 in your calculator and get from here to your decimal answer, that's all I need you to be able to do. And then be able to determine if that is a repeating number that goes on forever, if it is infinite, or finite. What I'll ask you to do right now, do your problem set, these 10 questions. Once you've got those done, label them as either finite or infinite. Check your answers on these next 2 screens. If they're looking good and you feel comfortable, then answer these last 4 questions as your exit ticket. You'll go back to my Google Classroom, click on the exit ticket link, pop those in with your name, and you're done with today's lesson. So beyond that, I hope you guys are doing great. I can't wait for the time when we're back in our classroom together. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to email me. If you're wanting to set up a Zoom chat outside of my office hours, if I can make it happen, I definitely will. So email me, and if I can find a time that works for multiple students, if you're having struggles with certain things, let me know. Keep getting those IXL minutes and those topics I am suggesting. Those will really help you out. Sometimes I will use IXL for our exit ticket, but I'll let you know when that happens. Other than that, keep up the great work. Office hours on Friday, again, I'll post those on Google Classroom, but always email me with any questions. Please don't hesitate. I hope you guys are doing great. I miss you. Hit me up. Let me know how you're doing. Just give me an email saying how's it been, and hopefully you're doing good personally. So until the next time, I'll see you later.